AI is a really, really, really hard problem. It's something that people have been working on for over 60 years now. And sure, we're making dramatic progress, but if you think about how far we still are from machines that can sort of think and reason and observe the world the way that people can, it's clear that we still have a long way to go.
Artificial intelligence can be a lot of different things. It involves anything where a computer has the capability to learn from previous behaviors, from examples, and intelligently use that in future situations.
Right now, I think we think about machine learning generally as sort of this big computation that happens once, whereas really learning is about exploring the world, it's about getting feedback on what you're doing and so on, and we're still in really early days of that.
The types of questions that AI addresses are fundamental, important scientific questions for understanding things like what is the nature of intelligence, from a cognitive science point of view, for really understanding how humans reason and learn. And philosophically, there are all sorts of questions like what is consciousness, where AI's research can actually shed light on those questions.
For me, this is really an introspective quest of understanding how our brain works. What happens when we think? What happens when we imagine things? You know, if we close our eyes and if you imagine some object moving around, you can do that. We can simulate whatever we really want in our head. How is that happening? How are these neural networks basically enabling us to do these very abstract and complicated cognitive operations?
You can see the technology that we're working on developing actually makes it into technology that you use in your real life.
A number of applications are really immense, and they span a wide range of fields, from self-driving cars, from systems that perform some form of natural language processing like voice assistants, to systems that are very useful in the health area in analyzing medical images and processing different types of health data.
One can imagine, with coronavirus, for example, there's an enormous need for very, very rapid research progress, and AI can certainly help with that.
A lot of companies use it to make a lot of important decisions. So we have to understand what's happening and how it works much better than we do at the moment.
You really need AI systems or AI capabilities for explaining why they come to certain conclusions. And when there are problems, that also will guide the repair of those systems in order to perform better in the future.
It's much more powerful to combine human intelligence and artificial intelligence, especially in terms of medicine and healthcare.
It's about getting computers and humans to both do what they do best.
I think it's really important these days that we have diversity in teams, right? A diversity of backgrounds, diversity of cultures, diversity of genders, and so on, because as AI begins to be used in the real world, we really need to be thinking about the impact that it's going to have on the world. And the only way of doing that is getting a lot of different voices in the room as these systems are being designed.
We all share the desire to solve difficult problems, and we all bring different types of skills, and we want to form a community to answer the challenge.
Every department in the school has people who have relevant interests, relevant expertise, and bringing all of these together makes an enormously powerful combination.
It's also a place where we take really seriously the way people interact with machines and artificial intelligence.
For state-of-the-art machine learning, enormous computational resources are needed to truly exploit the algorithms and test the algorithms that are being developed.
Our Big Red 200 supercomputer here has massive amounts of computation available for machine learning.
We have faculty working on cutting-edge frontiers.
We look at types of problems that people encounter every day, from finance to sports to biology to psychology to geology.
We work on biological problems, and then we use machine learning approaches so that we can solve those biological problems. Can we first figure out what the bacteria living in the human gut? What do they do? How they interact with each other? And then decide how that interaction may have impact on human health or disease.
We study large-scale genetic questions using DNA sequencing and proteomics like mass spectrometry data. We are trying to build a machine learning or AI framework for us to design immunotherapy for cancer patients.
I'm trying to teach the computer to understand language, to be able to interact with me as a human using language and not pre-formatted types of information like programming. That means that we have to understand how language works, because that is the only way to teach the computer to understand it.
I use machine learning or AI for the cybersecurity with a specific focus on I try to reason and understand the attacker, the adversaries automatically. For example, I build a chatbot to talk with the attacker to try to collect what kind of attack tools they use. This kind of information could be deployed in the defense system immediately. So I'm really excited about the research which have the real-world impact.
There are all sorts of great problems that involve what people do with music making. We've made an awful lot of progress to be able to interpret what musicians are doing. We've made a lot of progress in modeling of harmony and understanding how this tends to progress and how we make machines that learn about this kind of thing.
If a student has a passion about pretty much anything, you can probably think of a way of applying AI to that problem or investigating AI for that problem or that area and making a real difference in people's lives.
Despite the enormous successes of AI, there still are enormously hard problems. And so to conquer those problems, I think we still need as much creativity and innovation as we've ever needed.
I hope really what we learn can really be translated into these applications that we can really, for prevention, even for disease diagnosis, and also even for treatment.
I look at it as an exciting time that we can utilize data and computing to make things better for not just people, but the planet.